Billionaire businessman and the owner of Dallas Mavericks, Mark Cuban, has been on the spotlight recently because of a comment he made saying that blockchain, or Web 3.0 as he called it, would make him very rich, a trillionaire. Now, for those unfamiliar with blockchain, it is the underlying technology behind cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Dogecoin. The entire crypto market has a market cap of about $3 trillion. Now, when a billionaire investor and an entrepreneur tells you to watch out for an asset, you better listen. And that's exactly the aim of today's video, to see why Mark Cuban thinks that blockchain technology will become the new web and make a lot of people rich in the process. So you better stay until the end so you don't get to miss out on something that can make you very rich in the future. Okay, back to the main video. Now, for those of you who don't know Mark Cuban, he is a billionaire investor who made his money from the sale of a website named Broadcast.com that he sold to Yahoo in 1997. Since then, he has gone on to acquire the Dallas Mavericks as well as shares in several companies. Mark is now a very popular investor who is also a regular appearance on Shark Tank. Mark's net worth stands at about $4.5 billion. For some reason, Mark Cuban thinks the next big thing in blockchain technology, popularly called Web 3.0, many investors, including Mark Cuban, believe it's the next game changer. Blockchain was first launched in 2008 when Bitcoin was released for public use. Blockchain technology allows the transfer of digital assets without any middleman to verify the transactions. Blockchains work like a ledger that records transactions. What makes blockchain incredible is that once a transaction is stored, it can't be erased or edited. This makes blockchain a secure way to record transactions and other sensitive information. Although the first blockchain was released as a cryptocurrency, many other blockchains have been released, some of which support a currency while others don't. When Bitcoin was first released, there wasn't a lot of hype around it. Many people feared it would be like one of those tech companies soon to fail. And it wasn't until 3 years later that Bitcoin would reach $1 per Bitcoin. Today, 1 Bitcoin is equivalent to a whopping $39,000, while the second most popular cryptocurrency, Ethereum, is worth about $2,600. Of course, everyone knows that crypto has some potential, but is it enough to make tons of millionaires? Mark Cuban seems to think so. He even goes on to say that blockchain could make him a trillionaire. Mind you, folks, the richest man in the world is only worth $228 billion. So why does he think so? Mark Cuban recently declared that around 80% of his non-Shark Tank investments were crypto. He went on to mention that he was looking to invest in DAOs. DAO stands for Decentralized Autonomous Organization, and it refers to a blockchain community with no central authority. DAOs are governed by members who make changes to the community based on voting. Quote, all these new businesses that are being formulated now that take this new approach, and many game-changing businesses will come from these types of organizations, end quote. But DAOs, like most other crypto projects, are extremely risky, and that's why many investing gurus will ask you only to invest an amount that you're willing to lose. But even Mark Cuban knows the risk that comes with investing in the world of blockchain. It's not to say that there aren't a lot of problems, Cuban continued. Cryptocurrency is hard to understand, and it's a hassle. But 10 years from now, there's going to be those that succeeded that will create its economy, end quote. For Mark, investing in crypto requires the right kind of focus. It's why he looks for a utility in a blockchain project before looking at how its tokens are trading. Always look for the utility, he says. Quote, that is where the value is created, end quote. He also says, being able to create businesses on decentralized platforms leveraging smart contracts, validators, DAOs, and more create a unique ability to offer more efficient biz processes and disrupt industries. When asked what cryptos he has invested in, he replied, I like Ether more than Bitcoin because I can see an unlimited number of applications that will change the biz and consumer world forever. Cuban tweeted on October 16th, quote, and to use them, you need to buy Ether, end quote. Cuban also said, "We're seeing a rush where there's a lot of different blockchains that are competing." End quote. Cuban said, "When they start to put smart contracts to work, that's when we'll start to see things level out. It's going to come down to applications and integrations. But as an investment, I think Ethereum has the most upside." End quote. This might not come as a shock to many investors, as Ethereum is the most used blockchain in the world. Ethereum is also the leader in decentralized finance services and applications and NFTs. Ethereum's smart contract technology also powers most blockchain-based projects. Ethereum owns 23.4% of the total crypto market. That means that Ethereum is worth about $528 billion and is only set to grow. When asked his general thoughts about crypto, he had this to say: "At the beginning of the pandemic, as awful as it's been, I talked about companies that we're going to look back on in 10 or 15 years that were created." What we are seeing right now with this communal effort and the foundation of blockchain-type applications is that people stuck at home can use to try to make money just change the game 180 degrees, he said. "If you don't understand blockchain," Cuban said, "it's going to smack you down and make you bleed." End quote. "It's like the early days of the internet," he said. "Brand new and no one knows what it's going to be. There's a lot of projections," he said. "When we were starting AudioNet that turned into a broadcast.com, I can't tell you how many times everyone said, 'Internet broadcasting? There's no chance. I don't need this internet craziness to do this.' A lot of people thought we were crazy. For example, it took time before bandwidth became available and cheap enough that streaming and cord cutting could really happen. That was 20 years into the internet, give or take, and we're only 10 or 12 years into crypto after starting with Bitcoin," he said. So for other cryptocurrencies like Ether, transactional blockchain, or smart contracts, there's a long way to go, and there will be a lot of companies that don't work, but you're going to get some winners. In line with Mark's words, there are more than 10,000 cryptocurrencies in existence today. Most of them are anonymous cryptocurrencies with tiny communities backing them. The technology is still in its nascent phase, so you can expect many of those blockchain projects to fail. However, the blockchain craze is going strong. Many governments around the world were first skeptical when cryptocurrencies were released. But as the general public began to adopt cryptos in their everyday life, governments began to relax their resistance to it. Some governments have gone on to partner with blockchain projects. Smart contracts are stored on the blockchain, and they run when certain predetermined conditions are fulfilled. Smart contracts are commonly used in gaming, healthcare, and real estate. Mark Cuban believes that smart contracts will revolutionize the finance industry. Mark Cuban is also big on DeFi. Decentralized financing offers us similar services as traditional finance, the kind of service banks provide. The Ethereum blockchain supports most DeFi services. Only this time, it is all happening on the blockchain. DeFi also offers another massive opportunity in lending services. DeFi lending doesn't have as many barriers, making it easy to take loans. As Cuban has suggested, businesses, decentralized or otherwise, tend to benefit when they offer customers the path of least resistance to get what they want and/or need, Cuban said. DeFi is not monolithic. It's competitive. It will evolve to meet customer needs, end quote. Of course, Mark doesn't expect this to replace traditional banking entirely, but he expects traditional banking to be disrupted, just the same way finance tech apps disrupted the regular finance industry. Some industries are change adverse. It's the innovator's dilemma. Banks could have simplified or automated to the point that DeFi wasn't needed. They didn't. They are so stuck in legacy operations until they are disrupted by simple fintech, Cuban continued. But for all of Mark's faith in DeFi, there's still the issue of scant regulations or insurance. This becomes a serious issue when considering how volatile the crypto market is. A sharp price drop would immediately liquidate an investor's position if the crypto assets used as collateral decline in value. According to Cuban, even DeFi platforms could be scammed, and for that reason, Cuban believes that investors in DeFi will welcome regulation, since it will allow the industry to grow and still have a Wild West aspect. Mark also believes that the wider crypto world would need regulation. He thinks it might be helpful if the regulation was built around existing fraud laws. He said, "Any discussion of crypto regulation has to start with the facts that there are already laws against fraud and that crypto is not monolithic. There are many layers to crypto, here are my thoughts, and all are subject to change as I learn more." He also said, "Personally, I think regulations built around existing fraud laws is not a bad thing." He continued, "It will require proof of authorship and identity, but it won't hurt innovation nor slow anything down." And there you have it, folks. We've gotten to the end of this video. You've seen all the reasons why Mark Cuban believes that crypto is the next big thing. Now go ahead and tell us in the comment section what you think about Mark's claim.